What is up, everybody? It is Creative Potato here, and I'm back with a digital painting. First off, I want to apologize because I didn't originally plan to, record the process of me creating this painting. And so the beginning sketch isn't recorded of me actually drawing, but rather a time lapse of me drawing. If that makes sense. Anywho, this is going to be a very chill video, music, me talking a little bit about this painting and some issues that I've been having pertaining to choosing color palettes and just some difficulties that I go through. I don't know how much I'm going to talk in this one, but I do want to get out some ideas that I had with this painting and going through it, because a lot of people did like it, and I actually posted it for International Women's Day, which was actually a really great time to post it. I finished it on International Women's Day, and then I decided to post it because I felt like this painting really embodied creative women around the world. So this painting is titled A Spark of Inspiration. And I thought of that idea at the end of the painting, which is typically what happens. I start a painting, I don't come up with a name until I'm finished, and I get to see how it all comes together. So my goal for this painting was to really focus on the pink. I've been having some issues with coming up with my own color palette. It's something that I deeply struggle with whenever I work on a piece. And that's actually something I brought up in my different YouTube videos. I usually say, oh, I can't come up with a color palette, or, I'm really having difficulty coming up. That's always been a thing for me. I'm just really bad at picking colors together. I know it's probably easier for some other artists, but it's really difficult for me. Typically, I struggle with it a lot. I let it stress me out, which is never good. So for this painting, I just wanted to do something relaxing, and since my brand color is pink, I decided why not go with a monochromatic like painting that focuses on the color pink. So her skin started off a very hot pink, but I did soften it to contrast against the dark purplish pink that I'm putting for the plants. The plants are going to be different tones of pinks, of course, but I like to do the color blocking this way. So I typically work with plants. In my pieces, you'll see like moss, because I find moss very beautiful, and so I use it to accent a lot of my paintings. It's just a thing that I do, and I want to go a little different with this piece, focus on the plants growing out of her, and they represent the different ideas sprouting out of her on a daily, or however you get your creative spark. But there's that one that really sticks out to her, which is going to be the flower that ends up being a bright yellow in the middle of her head floating down. And so this idea came when I was struggling with ideas. I was struggling with coming up with something that I didn't stress about. And as I told you, I was stressing about my color palette situation, because I feel like it's one of those things where you graduate college. I didn't go to art school. I was an English major, but I did take art classes in college, and you kind of see all the art students really how easy it is for them to pick up on colors and get a color palette down or complement colors together. And that was always something very difficult for me, and it's not something that I triumphed over yet. It's something that I'm still working on. And so for this piece, I decided to go a little crazy with what I wanted to experiment with. I wanted to experiment with the movement of her, but also, since my issues that I was struggling with was color, I wanted to experiment with what I could do with color while sticking with the monochromatic, because remember, I'm trying not to stress myself out about it. So during this process, you'll see me add yellows, and there was blues around her eyes that I added for highlight, and I experimented with neon colors actually, which is something new for me because I typically don't touch neon colors. Of course, for this painting, it's neon colors of different tones of purples and pinks, and then later on yellows for the focus part of the painting. But neon colors is typically something that I don't touch because it's a very risky they're very risky for my taste, in which I do very soft tones, as you'll see with a lot of my artwork. But the whole point of me getting back into art was trying to experiment with stuff that I used to be uncomfortable with. And so with this one, I decided to experiment with a lot of the highlighting, a lot of the neon colors. And I do plan on doing that with a lot of my future artwork as well, because I found out that I really loved it. The middle of this flower here in her forehead actually goes away. This was an initial idea that I had that didn't pan out. I instead wanted the flower floating down instead of just a huge glowing flower in the middle of her head. That makes sense. So I paint it out, and then I get back to going in the middle. I focus on the rest of the painting, and then I go back to the focus piece. So at this point, I'm going to start to speed it up a little more so that this video can go by a little faster and not bore you guys. But right here is what I'm talking about when I say I start experimenting with a little bit of the color. I add the blue because at first I wanted the middle of the flower to be blue, like glow this pretty blue light. But as I continued painting, I realized that it didn't contrast much. As beautiful as the neon or cyan blue was against her skin tone, I kept it, or I believe that I kept some of it, but it just wasn't giving that pop, that pop of focus that it really needed for the painting to stand out, at least to me. So later on, I cover some of this up with the bright yellow that I was talking about. So at this point, I'm just doing the shadows, and I think I might focus on the hair next. I don't really remember. I did this painting like, was it a week ago now, I believe. But back to my color palette situation. So color palettes is really difficult for me because I was never good at matching color tones together. I was never great at the color wheel or anything pertaining to the color wheel. So I thought that that will always be an obstacle for me when trying to become an artist, because my professor saw that I wasn't good at a color wheel. But eventually I just learned to, like go with the flow, and color will find me as long as I just keep painting. I took some oil painting classes, watercolor painting classes, nothing pertaining to digital painting at all, digital art at all. Actually, a lot of my old professors, they did not believe in digital art whatsoever. It was the typical, that's the shortcut way out. But honestly, digital art takes just as much talent as regular art. It is a lot that goes into here. At this point, I'm creating the flower that I was talking about. And as you see, there's that blue because I painted it in the dark tone pink. I really don't know what to describe this color as, but I'm pretty sure plenty of people have a name for it. But I put it in that, and I meant to put it in blue, but I didn't, and I realized it at the last minute. So I tried with the blue highlights, as you see, and then eventually I realized that I didn't like it. But yeah, digital art just as time consuming as regular art. And my whole color palette situation had to learn to go with the flow. But before I forget, speaking of digital painting, I am actually working on a beginning to end digital painting process. One of many that I do technique wise, and it will be up on my Buy Me a Coffee donation/support page. If you want to see the video, you do have to be on the $5 tier membership. And I named that recently the productive potato level, and actually my members helped me come up with the picture that I chose to draw for it. They helped me come up with what they like the best and whatnot. So if you do want to be a part of decision making and stuff, and also want to see this beginning to end digital painting process that I'll be doing, it is about 1 hour and 30 minutes I'm doing the captioning for it right now. I'm trying to finish it as fast as possible as well, but yes, I am doing the captioning for it now. It's taking a long time because I wanted to have custom captioning from me, so that any of my followers or members who have hearing difficulties, they can read the captions a lot easier and still follow along. I didn't want to just go by YouTube's auto captioning because I wasn't sure how it was going to flow, because sometimes I do talk a little fast. I am hoping though that I can utilize YouTube's auto captioning for this particular video, because it is currently 11 at night right now, the day before this needs to go up, and I realized that I hadn't really done a voiceover for it at all, so I decided to get on that. But yeah, and I'm pretty tired because I had a lot to do today. So yeah, really hoping that YouTube can auto caption this correctly, because I actually don't have time to do it. But yeah, if you want to look at the video that will be accessible to any of my $5 tier memberships, aka the Productive Potatoes, then join the membership, or you can follow me for free on Buy Me a Coffee and still get the occasional updates that I give for general things. But currently right now in the painting process of this picture, I'm working on the hair. As I told you earlier on, the hair, I decided to go a lot darker with it, and I actually went back and forth. There was a part, I'm not even gonna lie, that I cut out of this because I spent like a good 30 minutes deciding on the hair color, and I realized that I was still recording, so it was literally 30 minutes of me basically doing nothing but switching between different hair colors. And I was like, why am I switching between different hair colors when I can just choose a darker tone pink, probably what the plants are, and then define. So yeah, I go with that, and then immediately after I start working on some of the flowers near her shoulders. But this particular painting is actually in my vlog that I'm working on. I'm guessing now I decided I was going to, I'm sorry this is everywhere, but I was going to do a vlog for today's video, but one, I didn't have enough footage, and two, I didn't have enough time to put it all together. So I think I'm just going to probably do a March wrap-up vlog, since I still have stuff that I want to record. But I've been having a hard time finding when to film and actually working on the digital painting process video that I just talked about, and then along with that doing my other freelance jobs that I have. So you know, I have clients that I need to keep up with, and then work on my own things, and then focus on this as well. But you know, I went with the whole, if you don't feel like filming, then don't film, just film when you feel like it. But it's probably going to be a chaotic video, and I only say that because there are times where I start filming one day and I don't film for the rest of the day because I don't feel like it. Like I felt like filming at the beginning, and then as more and more work piled on, I didn't feel like it. And I like having things organized, so it kind of drives me a little crazy when I have like clips where one day is only like 2 minutes or something like that, because I like to, you know, as you've seen in my videos, or if you haven't, you know, I put you know, Monday, April, or May, or blah blah blah. But there's not enough footage for the first day, so it's just like one day is like March 8th, let's say, and then it's like 1 minute of video, and then the next video is March 10th. So that was one of the issues that I was going into, because I would start a video and then I finish it because I had a lot of work to do and focus on, and I really couldn't take the time to make sure I had the camera set up and that I was vlogging. But today that this video is going out, I am happy to say that it is my little pup's second birthday, aka she is 14 years old, little Ahsoka. We spoiled her, we gave her gifts. That is also in my vlog. I'm glad I was able to capture her with her cute birthday hat on. This is very much of a sidetrack, but I just realized that today is my baby girl's birthday. So happy birthday to her. Anywho, at this point in the painting, I am going over the flowers. I know I haven't explained a lot going on because really there isn't much for me to explain except for I was just having fun, experimenting with different hues, different brightness, contrast of pink. I had no idea what I was doing when I did these flowers. I had to end up going on Pinterest and looking at pink roses to try to get an idea, and I looked at realistic pink roses to try to get an idea of how they circle into each other. One of these don't even look like a rose. I don't know what flower it looks like. I can't think of it right now, but it definitely not a rose, but it was still pretty. I think I ended up changing like the color of one of them a little bit, or not the color but the hue, because it was bouncing off of another one. Not bouncing off, but rather blending in. But this is super sped up because these flowers took me a minute, because like I told you, I had no idea what I was doing flower wise. Also want to note that just remember, if you're not really good at something art related, you're going to get better at it if you keep practicing. I know you probably hear that a lot, but it's extremely true. I mean, you don't have to like sketch every day. I sketch almost every day, but you don't have to do that. That isn't something, because I didn't used to do it. I wasn't even new to art, and I'm still not good at color palettes or matching colors and stuff like that. But I think I'm going to start to wrap up the video here because my painting is just about done. I already have the glow in the bag. I'm going to start working on the flower in a minute now, and that rose right there, the one that's blending in with her skin, that's the one that I end up changing like the contrast for. It was either the contrast or the hue of it a little bit because it was blending way too much with her skin. And here I was experimenting with the bloom effect on Procreate and the add layer, but I ended up taking that off anyway because it was taken away from the focus of the flower in the middle. Anywho, that is a wrap on the video. I want to thank you guys for listening to my rant, and I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch my video. I hope this was really entertaining and soothing. Like I said, I wanted to do something really chill, nothing too serious, and I wanted to show my process of painting this really beautiful picture that I painted out of boredom. My buy me a coffee link will be down below in the description box. Again, if you want to see the digital painting process from beginning to end, that is the $5 productive potato tier, or you can just support me for free by following. Subscribe if you want to, like this video if it was entertaining, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.